165.
Exactly.
It is. Oh,
No,
that's
no.
the first time.
No.
Damn it. Don't get me all excited.
We're on 49. Let me just check.
We're not even. I'm off by like 20.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I know we made
Terrible.
a lot, but no, 47.
147.
Yeah,
Oh,
147.
Close.
Who
Very
knows,
close.
But yeah.
Oh, God.
Take it away, my man.
Hello and welcome to episode 147 of the Boot Nerds podcast. JayMike, what's up?
What's up? I mean, World Cup's getting closer. United just hammered Spurs 2-0. Could have been 6-7-0 if not for, Hugo Lloris turning into Lev Yashin for a full match. Now I'm doing good. Lots of stuff dropping. Busy times. So, yeah. Not complaining. I'm complaining about shooting outdoors. It's getting colder, but I guess you know all about that. How are you?
It sure is getting colder. I can agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, it's just when we shoot in the summer, we're outside and we're like, oh, it's so warm. We're just boiling on the pitches, right? And then September, October comes around and we start to realize how good we had it. Because now it's just like standing still. Doing syncs, talking to the camera, it's a pain. It's a pain.
It really, if you live somewhere where you have two very different types of temperature throughout the year, you really take for granted the warm weather.
And we know every winter it gets really cold and really windy, and it's the wind that kills you. So yeah, I'm not too happy with that, but. Right. But Josh, today, we're basically just going to go through a lot of the stuff that's come out because we've seen a lot of technically not new stuff, but it's still worth talking about. And of course, finally, you got your Legend 9 Montebellunas, which we should just touch on. And we're just going to end up with a bunch of questions. So, I mean, should we start Montebelluna?
Let's start with the Tiempos. 'Cause again, I think it's been a really good run of new releases in the last 3 weeks or so.
Oh, it has. It has.
Montebelluna Tiempos. I'll start off by saying that I think it's funny that at this point, Made in Italy has become a special limited edition thing from Nike, where once upon a time that was just the standard.
Yeah.
Like Made in Italy was a feature of a top-end Nike model back in the day.
Sure. So, and back then we were like, when boots were made in Bosnia, people were like, made in Bosnia. And then they moved the main production to China, Vietnam, Indonesia, and now made in Bosnia is like, ooh, that's it's kind of special. Yeah. And made in Italy is like the top stuff.
But honestly, like really impressive. I think the thing about them that's surprising to me visually is that they're so much more gray. And then for whatever reason, in both picture and in video, they just come across as looking way more white than they actually are.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
And I really like them. I will say that much, but I can't say that I was as blown away as I was expecting to be.
I understand where you're going.
And the only reason why I say that is because I am a soft leather guy. And I don't think that you would necessarily describe the leather on these as being soft in terms of having that like cushiony plushness against your foot. It's extremely pliable and flexible and moves really nice, but it doesn't necessarily have that really cushion feel. It's a very thin type of leather, which is great. Like honestly, the touch on the ball is fantastic. And there's a huge contrast between this and a regular pair of Legend 9s. But is it my ideal pair of leather football boots? Not necessarily.
But look, I think that's a fair point. And this is not like there's not tons of padding and foam in there. But that's what I really like about them. This is it's closer to a barefoot-like feel. We all know I'm a speed boot guy, and I love my leather speed boots. I got the F50 Adizero, by the way, finally, and they are glorious.
Yeah,
my God.
Yeah, they're sweet, right?
But that's the thing. The leather on that boot is phenomenal. It's super soft, very malleable, and also thin. And you can say the same thing here. Was a little bit, like I mentioned before, a little bit disappointed with how they felt out of the box compared to the Hypervenom GXs, which were just like butter straight away. These took a bit of breaking in before we reached that level. but I like how it's just soft, thin, super, super pliable leather. I mean, there's no bullshit here. There's no padding. There's nothing tainting that experience, for me at least, of just the pure leather. And I think that is something very beautiful in it.
Like there's absolutely no question that this is some of the best leather quality you're going to find on any football boot. But when the leather is stripped in such a way where it doesn't have that padded feel to it, it eliminates a little bit of that step-in comfort that I think is expected from an ultra premium leather football boot. And I think I said this in my review. I might not have. So, do you ever find that when you try to refer to old reviews that you've done, even if it was just a week ago, you have a hard time remembering what you said?
Oh, yeah. That's because we do so many videos all the time. Yeah.
That's the problem, right? So I may or may not have said this, but I actually would say that the step-in comfort was not necessarily as good, or at the very least not any better than a regular pair of Legend 9s, just because they don't have that softness. And that to me was the disappointing aspect of this football boot. But I love the simplicity. Playing in them is a pleasure. Leather this good, it's just it's hard to come by these days, right?
Yeah, you can't not appreciate it when you're playing in them. And look, I understand where you're going. And I would definitely agree with the step-in comfort from the get-go. It doesn't feel as I want to say cozy and comfortable in that traditional, very plush, slipper-like sitting in granddad's chair kind of way. Because the leather it feels a little bit more. I don't want to say stiff, but it had that like crackly sensation to it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's I think your Mercurial speed boot comparison was actually a pretty good one. Like if they were to make a leather version of a Mercurial, this is the type of leather I would expect them to use. Super, super thin. It feels good.
But the thing is, for me, I felt like I needed to activate it. I felt like I needed to, earn the softness. I've worn them quite a bit since we did that playtest, and my God, has the effort of softening them up over time has just paid dividends. It's on a whole other level compared to a newer pair I have lying around when you just touch it now. And that's the thing, the step-in comfort might not be that it might not be that classic comfort that we expect, but the way it just takes to the shape of the foot immediately, the way you can feel that pliability, the flexibility of the leather, the willingness to just follow your foot. I think that's something you won't find on many other football boots today.
No.
But you wouldn't buy it over the normal Legend, you said. That's controversial.
I think it's dependent on. I said that from the perspective of the average consumer.
I'm just baiting you.
I really like these. Let me say that much. And I like the no nonsense feel that they have in eliminating, especially the memory foam through the forefoot area. They feel great. I just think that for the average person, if you buy one pair of boots for the entire season, I don't necessarily think that this would be a better option over a regular pair of Legend 9s.
But let's be honest, for 95% of players out there, it probably wouldn't, because you really need to take care of these. You need to give it ample amounts of leather, cream, and all that stuff. You need to take care of them. You need to look after them.
Yeah, so you make the untreated aspect is unusual, right? Yeah. Like that's a wild card we don't really see in football boots anymore. And it's this is the stereotype that people associate with leather football boots in 2022. It's like, oh, they're hard to take care of. I have to clean them all the time and do leather cream. You really don't have to do that for almost any other leather boot that's out there right now. But for these, it's kind of necessary to maintain them.
And you can just tell when the pros are wearing these. Bruno Fernandes, Van Dijk, who else wore them? Henderson, I think, from Liverpool. By the way, these players were just given the boots. They were not obliged to wear them. They were just given them and said, wear them if you want. And they all wore them. I mean, even Bruno jumped from his Mercs into these.
Which is cool to see.
That it was really cool to see. But you can also just tell how the water immediately is absorbed by the weather, the water from the pitch. So they look kind of weird. They don't look that good on the pitch, if I'm honest. And I think you make a fair point. Save $20 to get a boot that is better suited to last you a full season. So this is for the connoisseurs. what I will say is
like
that
I think what I said in my video is this is a match day boot.
That's fair. That's fair. And I think for people who appreciate it, who understand how to maintain a leather boot, what you get for those extra, I mean, in my world, only $20 more is so much more than what those $20 would normally get you. And I think that's why these are a bit extraordinary. But
really good. I'd make some changes.
Here's my question. These or the Hypervenom GXs?
I like these more. I do.
You're a Tiempo guy.
I'm a Tiempo guy. I like these more. Hypervenom GX was really good though. I think that's looking back at all the limited stuff Nike has made. That one, I think mostly visually people weren't crazy about it. But if that came out in a different colorway that people were bigger fans of, I think that would be looked back on as like one of the all-time greats as far as limited releases go. But for me, for as extreme as they went with the leather upper, I wish they would have changed more about the boot. I still am confused by the decision to go with Legend 8, Legend 7 tooling. Not that it really makes that much of a difference, but now that I've had a taste of Legend 9, I kind of like that sole plate more, which is no big deal. The insole, I think you touched on it in your review. Don't care for it. I think it would have been much cooler if they're going for Legend 1 tribute. Give us that Legend 1 insole with like the tire tread rubber pattern in it. That's cool. That would have been sweet. Otherwise, I just prefer the standard kind of mesh liner on the surface.
Honestly, it's just a crap insole.
Is it actually what I said in my review, and I wasn't sure? Is it actually lined in leather? It seems like it might be, which is kind of an unusual choice. Like it's very premium in a way, but it doesn't necessarily feel great against your feet. And also, again, you went to such an extreme to modify the leather upper. Give us a regular tongue. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that's true.
That would have been cool.
That was probably a way to keep costs down.
Yeah.
To use the standard element from that, because I reckon this would have been quite expensive to make. But yeah, I'd probably go Hypervenom GX. I love that boot to bits. This is good, but it's not right up there with the GX.
Yeah, I really like it. I really do. However, given the choice, if I'm spending a premium on a pair of leather football boots, I can't say that I would pick these over MIJ Morelia 2.
That's also fair.
I just for another $30, that's kind of what is on my radar.
That's fair. Okay, what else dropped this week? Let's just quickly touch on these. I mean, it's the easiest boot Nike have sold out in like, I think 10 years. They just took the old one and then changed the hue of orange into pink. And then, we sold out in like a couple of hours. So that was great.
Yeah, not even.
No, it was wild.
That's like, I'm glad they released it in a second colorway, but it's Flyknit Ultra all over again. Like, why do you have a model that you're releasing in limited quantities that is better than 90% of your lineup? Certainly better than Phantom GT.
You can argue that, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I just think that is a really well-rounded product. It fits great. It's super comfortable. The Hypervenom 3 tooling, I think, is, looking back, super underrated.
It is.
Like that's a great product.
But I feel like this is the Nike equivalent on the tooling that's on the Regular Cups. Like it is such a rounded, slightly more aggressive tooling than that.
Yeah.
Right? But it really just works. And this is a boot that, it's so wide. I mean, even if they make these in my size, which they don't, I think they would be too wide for me.
It's got a pretty rounded, I wouldn't say the shape is too far off of the Hypervenom Phantom 3 lows.
Okay.
I just think that because of the way they did the lacing system, it does end up feeling a little bit wider than that. But that's not to say that you can't tighten it up when the laces get tied properly. So
fair enough.
I like it. Again, disappointed that that's not a readily available product, because I think if you are on the market for something with a knitted upper, or even something in the control category, the grip provided by those like tacky little bumps on the upper, I don't know how to really describe that.
Nah.
It just, it feels really good.
It does. It's a very we say well balanced grip so often that it's a cliche these days, but it feels very sticky in this controllable way, which is interesting. You know, I thought it's a little bit too easy, Nike. I mean, why not give us the boot then in red or blue or whatever? I mean, at least change the upper color. And I realize it's probably, you know, there's a lot of cost connected to that because of the way you treat the yarns and all that jazz. But at the end of the day, the first one sold out. People wanted more. Nike gave them more. It sold out quickly, so everyone wins. I mean, but I'm not blown away.
I think they look cool. I like the pink more than I like the orange.
Okay.
And I'm not even a pink boots guy.
No. Well, fair enough. I think I like the oranges more.
Really? Okay.
Maybe. I still hate the swoosh placement. I think the swoosh placement is absolutely terrible.
It's not good, eh?
No, it's not good.
I don't mind it. Oh, I just did the Canadian thing on the podcast.
The worst thing is I've actually started doing the A thing.
No.
And I've told Arnau, my editor for the Unispo videos, to actively look out for when I say A and cut it out. I'm like, I can't go on YouTube and just be like,
see, once you get in the habit, it happens.
It sticks.
You can't even stop it.
It sticks.
Just sneaks out.
Yeah. What also sneaks up on you is this completely invisible. See what I did there? The Puma Dazzle Ultra Ultimate, which I mean, it took a while for it to come out. It says Puma prototypes, but hey, it's a camo. It's a Dazzle Camo Ultra. There's some neon yellow on there. I mean, what's not to like?
So it's a pre-release colorway that's coming out 2 months after release. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting talking about the delay of this project because that's funny.
Yeah.
Jay knows too much. He knows too much.
I might have been said fly on the wall, but you know, it is what it is. Nah, I don't know.
It's cool looking though. I've been a big fan of most of Puma's like pre-release camo colorways. I think they're cool. I just wish I liked the Ultra more this time around.
Yeah, I think that's weird for me. I think these are significantly better than the previous ones, but you know, each to their own. I think it's really a matter of, you know, there's something about the toe box that's been bothering me a little bit ever since I did the review. I can't put my finger on it, but it just feels a little bit too boxy for me. Mm-hmm. But you know, other than that, great boot. But sadly for the Ultra, it got undone by this bad boy. New Balance dropped their World Cup pack, the headliner pack or headline taker pack. Mm-hmm. And is like a normal looking version of the Raheem Sterling boots. Blue, kind of neon yellow. Blue. Can't complain. I think it looks strong with the black outline on the black stroke on the New Balance logo. Very cool, and it's just a great pair of football boots, man. I mean,
yeah, and the only thing I'll say about the Furon and the design they've gone with is New Balance is really not shy about putting their branding on the boot, eh?
But I think
I did it again. There's no need for it. Why am I doing that?
Oh my God! But you're right. They're not afraid of that, eh? But I think on this one it works. I think it looks cool. It looks fast with the way they've done the whole striping up the inside of the boot. And what I really enjoyed was that they've actually used then the ends on the tequila that we know from the sneakers and the running shoes. So it's a different look. Two different logos on the two different silos.
Yeah.
I like that.
I really like the branding on the tequila. I think that giant N on the side looks sweet.
Yeah, I agree. Looks very good. And it's not necessarily...
It's good pack.
I'm not a big fan of the silhouette of the tequila. I think this collar thing looks kind of ridiculous. But on foot, no complaints. I mean, what a fit.
You're right. It does look weird when it's not on feet. Almost similar to, I guess Predator. Yeah, Predator 18 Plus had, Predator Mutator. Was that 18 plus?
Oh, Mutator. No, that was 20 plus.
20 plus. Predator 20 plus had that weird kind of high collar that needed some stretch as well. This is kind of that same idea, but I think from a fit and functionality standpoint of making a mid-cut football boot, I like the idea of making a collar that is undersized that will stretch to the exact shape of your ankle rather than, I guess, early days of mid-cut football boots where you had these really large collars and then it kind of looked like there was extra space.
Super like I never 5'5", so it's like
like I never really liked the 16 plus and 17 plus pure control collar design. Like it just looked like it wasn't an issue, but because of how straight cut and how wide open it just looked like there was space around your ankle. True. You don't get that.
And there was.
I
had a teammate who swore by his 16 pluses, and the amount of graining that he got in there when we played on AG was ridiculous. I mean, there was so much, there was so big of an opening that it just attracted those little rubber pellets, right? But you mentioned A16 plus. I mentioned A16 plus as well. For me, this is like a nice mix of two boots we've already mentioned. Like the forefoot of the A16 Plus feels like it has the same nib pattern to some extent. That little, almost like, what's this? I don't know how to explain that in English, but it feels similar to the texture on the Pure Controls. And then the collar feels like the midfoot and the collar. The heel feels like the Ace. What am I saying? The Predator 18 Plus. That tighter fit around the heel, the S curve back here on the heel. It's a very good combination. Super comfortable pair of football.
They did a good job. And now that I've had some time to like think about that boot and try some other stuff on, it actually the fit and shape reminds me quite a bit of Copa Sense Plus, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, but this is what Copa Sense should have been, right?
Yeah, if Copa Sense would have been a much better football boot if it wasn't a Copa.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, which if you had to go out and play tomorrow in one of the New Balance boots, which would you choose?
Furon for me. Yeah, I'm so impressed with that product.
It's a great product, fantastic product. And I also like, for me, it's like it's in the same category as the Mercs and the Neos. I mean, we're up there.
The fact that there is reason to pick that over Merc this year, because Merc is so good, I mean, says a lot of the quality of what New Balance is putting out right now.
This is a tough one. It's also a little bit unfair because the product's not on the market still, but anymore. But Furons, V7s, or Speed Flows. 2 girls, everything. Go.
It would have to be Speed Flow for me. It would have to be.
Yeah.
It's just I find that such a comfortable pair of football boots.
And see, this is the thing, Josh. The more time passes from Speedflow being discontinued, the more fondly we'll remember it. I wore it the other day, just went back to it just to see if it was just me like imagining things or if it was indeed as good as I remembered it to be. And it is.
It's good.
It's so good. It's so good. And I mean, again, nothing.
Interesting to see Benzema won the Ballon d'Or, if you haven't been paying attention. And Adidas releases a pair of limited edition speed portals in a special Ballon d'Or winning colorway, even though Benzema has not yet worn speed portal as far as I'm aware.
He hasn't.
But he broke out a pair of basically speed flows with speed portal colorway. So for everybody that has been criticizing the two of us for saying that speed portal is not up to the standard that it should be for a brand like the Three Stripes, and compared to the competition, you have arguably the best player in the last year unwilling to wear them. And I think that says something. And he's being paid to wear Adidas product, for the record.
I think, the speed pole is not a bad boot. When I wear it, it's not like I hate my life. It's not like they're the Predator edges where I really don't want to wear those boots. But they're not bad. I just think they have the problem that they came after such a brilliant boot that if it had been the other way around, it would have been much easier to take. I mean, then we would have had Ghosted, which was, in my book at least, worse than Speed Portal. So Ghosted Speed Portal, that would have been an upgrade, and then Speed Portal to Speed Flow would have been an even bigger upgrade.
That's an interesting way to put it too, because I actually think Ghosted to Speed Portal to Speed Flow is actually pretty logical in terms of how the uppers feel.
Exactly.
Where it almost feels like Speed Portal is like combining Speed Flow and Ghosted into one boot.
It's kind of like a Ghosted and a half, right?
Yeah, but I just I think Ghosted was a good product at the time. And I think Speed Flow was exceptional. With Speed Portal, for the first time in a while in the speed category for Adidas, I feel like they just went the gimmicky route. Like there's too many things on Speed Portal, like the double heel counter with the carbon wings. Like that's not doing anything. You've just made the heel gigantic. For what? There's no benefit to that. The boot hasn't shaved any weight. It didn't get softer. It gained in structure, but it lost out in comfort. You increased volume for no reason. They changed sole plate tooling to no real benefit. Like they did things. It's change for the sake of change for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like it was different people working. It might have been. I actually don't even know. But it feels like it was like really different teams working on the Speed Flows and the Speed Portals. And you didn't take that. You didn't get the same knowledge that went into the Speed Flow on the Speed Portal. So
and that's not right. I'm out of the loop in the video game scene. When I was in high school, I was a big Call of Duty person. And my understanding at that time was that there were 2 development teams making Call of Duties to come out every 2 years, which is why every other game would be different. And I think that's fine in the video game world, I guess. I don't think that at all makes sense when you're talking about continuity of a specific line of football boots, especially when you achieve the heights that they did with Speed Flow.
But that's because there is, and it's a much, much, much bigger topic. And we could dive deep into it. And I think also it's got, maybe I shouldn't go there. But there's, it's a big discussion. I think people from the industry could also come in and share some points on why there are the product cycles that there are. It's about creating hype and all that stuff. But
I think to an extent we'd be ignorant to suggest that we know better in terms of product development and stuff like that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we would be stupid to say that. But what I will say, and what I feel very strongly about, is I wish, not just with Adidas, but with any brand, I wish development of new product was more focused on I don't want to say improvement, because I think improvement is sometimes difficult to do, but I wish it was focused more on quality of product rather than just having something new. Because I feel like right now we're in this state of like, all right, we have this great thing and we have to come out with a huge splash for next year and it's got to be so exciting and all this stuff. And I just don't think that's possible anymore in the world of football boots.
I just wish there was like a standard with the brands where they were like, is this product better? Like we have to push a new product. Is it better than the one we have? If it is, we run it. If it's not, we sit half a year out. We sit a season out or 2 seasons until the point where we can come up with something better. It's the same with Predator Edge. Like it feels like a job that Adidas didn't really believe in themselves. And there must be people out there who know that it wasn't up to standards. So why do you release it? I mean, doesn't it hurt? We talked about this before in the last episode also, where someone said that maybe they're releasing these subpar boots to then actually come back on a more positive note when they make it better, when they fix it. But I just don't think it works that way. I think it's also about, customer loyalty, right? So now that the speed flows are not there anymore, the speed portals are not as good. Mercs are fantastic, Furons are there, Ultras are good. Like Adi must be bleeding speed customers. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, they have to. I don't see realistically how they would think putting out bad product to then replace it with good product as a good strategy.
No.
Like I'm just imagining like being a plumber and you go somewhere and you overflow someone's toilet while you're working on it, and you do that a couple times and you got all these bad Google reviews on your Google search history, and it's like, 1 star, Joe's Plumbing, not very good. And then all of a sudden you start doing good work and then everyone's like, oh, you know what? Joe's Plumbing's actually really good. We should start hiring him now. No, it just doesn't make sense to go backwards to show huge signs of improvement. That's not a good. You don't build reputation on that.
No. So you know, to sum it up, I just wish that Adi had realized that maybe the speed portals aren't as good. Made some you know, given the speed portal, the speed flow, these names, man. Given the speed flows a facelift, you know, make a completely new design direction on them. I don't care. Just keep the same base product until you have something better. I wish that was more of a thing in the boot industry. I understand that's not the case, and it's because of hype and, you know, newness of product and all that stuff. It's not going to change, but I just wish it was different.
Yeah.
What can you do? We can't save the world. What we can do, though, is that we can try and answer some questions. And I'm pretty sure we'll succeed because we do have questions. And also, if you have any questions for us, leave them in the comment section right down below. And also, now you're at it, if you made it this far, like the video. We'd really appreciate it.
That'd be great.
But one from Andrew Palmer. Not sure you'll have time for questions next part. Well, we do, but here's mine. What are top 5 iconic boot elements in football? For example, this boot has rubber elements similar to an Adidas Predator, or this boot has a mesh upper similar to an OG Hypervenom, etc., etc. So 5 iconic boot elements. Well, obviously, rubber elements.
Yeah.
I think that's...
94 Pred.
Yes. I think Zoom Air. Not, you know, there's a recency bias, of course, but it's also been a thing for a while.
Yep.
Carbon fiber in the toolings.
Yeah, carbon fiber sole plates, I think, are a pretty big thing now. I mean, Nike definitely popularized it. I know Puma did it earlier, technically, V106.
Yeah.
There was some visible carbon on Vapor 3 as well, but minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would definitely say like Carbitex insert on X Ghosted would be, in my opinion, the best.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say like flap tongue on a Pred.
Okay, fair enough. That's not
sweet.
what I had in mind, but I can live with that. Knit textile uppers. I think we got to mention that. Can I also mention, I know we're on 5 now, but for my list, it would probably also be like bladed studs.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think you could say like laceless in general. I think Zero Gravity is such an underrated boot in the scope of like where boot technology has gone. You could make a top 10 list. You could make a top 20 list of all kinds of interesting football boot innovations, but yeah, really, I think it's difficult to narrow it down to top 5, like off the top of our heads.
But I think it's you know, we managed to get it down to 6. I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I think so.
Alan Kiros. Josh, will the playtest videos ever come back?
Yes and no. We'll see.
Okay.
The problem with the playtest videos is I'll be very honest. The amount of time and effort that has to go into those versus the reward in terms of how much exposure it gets is
a lot. Look, I know.
I don't want to say not worth it, but like I'm not a team of people, and it's a lot to manage at this point for me in terms of just YouTube product reviews, Pure Grip socks, SR4U laces. Like it's a lot of stuff for me to like work on all at once. So
yeah, and you're
squeezing in time to record for several hours and then spend double that amount of time in editing and all this stuff. It's a difficult thing for me to manage.
Yeah, and
plus,
let's be honest.
Field,
I mean, a field is also like if you need that, right? You need pitch access.
Yeah, the fields are such. I don't know what it is. Previously, before moving, and I'm not going to talk about where I live or anything like that, but I used to have access to a bunch of fields and it was no big deal. Since I've moved, it has been it's a task to get access to a field for any kind of like reasonable amount of money. It is insane what you want to talk about development of this game in Canada. Like this is part of the reason why access to a decent field is nearly impossible unless you're willing to dish out $200 an hour, which is crazy.
An hour?
Crazy. It's wrong. It's borderline wrong.
Yeah. No, that's not cool. Basically, we go to our local pitch. We just go there.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing. I know of all people, I know what it takes to do just like playtest. For us, the reviews, which is a level above our playtest in terms of like the amount of time and effort we put into them. But the playtest just, just requires a bigger team. Requires two people to go out, set up the camera, film, have movement on all the playing B-roll shots. The editing is a world on its own, right? Then there's prepping the video for YouTube titles, descriptions, metadata, all that stuff. It just takes time. So I get it. I totally get it. If you're a one-man army, I don't
want to sound like, because I'm sure there's people watching and just listen to what I said and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy reviews football boots for a living. Like, that's my dream job. He's being lazy. Like, for me at this point, it's time management. Like, if I were to make a playtest video and it was going to get 1 million views every time,
sure,
all right, then I guess it's worth it, right? But that historically has not been the case. And
also, you can't do, if you want to keep up if people want the flow of videos every day, there's just so much you can do
there's only so much you can do.
I understand.
And then I think what a lot of people also, I think because of how prevalent social media has become and how much people share with their lives and stuff, me and you both also try to live somewhat of a normal life outside of all this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's at some point you have to make time for it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a kid. So, I love my job. I love football boots. I love playing football. But, I'm 34 now. I have a kid. Life changes. And, so does yours. I mean, priorities change. And that's just the way it goes. I don't think you need to justify why you don't make these playtests anymore. I think people just, and it sounds entitled, but people should appreciate the content that's coming while it's coming. Because let's face it, one day, whether we like it or not, there's an expiry date. And for whatever reason, we're not going to be doing it anymore. Like, my body's going to say stop or, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes a lot more than people think to do these things. And it's only because, for me that I'm surrounded by extremely talented people on the video front that we can push out as many videos as we do. That's just the way it is.
Half those Unisport playtest videos are just CGI. It's not even Jay playing.
That's actually true. It's just deepfakes.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah, we just hire all the local lads and then just deepfake my face and voice on We got a comment on one of our videos saying, "Is it just me or has JayMike's skills improved?" And then there was another one saying, "Are you sure it's not just the camera work that's improved?" And I can reveal to you now that yes, it's indeed the camera work that's improved.
That's rude. I don't know. For me, just to quickly end on that, the SR4U platform, and I'm sure you feel the same way about Unisport. More so, I would say for me, it's been about information.
Yeah.
And as entertaining as it is to watch someone take some free kicks or do some dribbles or whatever it may be, it ultimately gives you no real information about the boots.
Absolutely.
I could hit a perfect free kick in a pair of Copas just like I could in a pair of the latest Mercs. Like it doesn't change anything about the performance of the product. You can't see performance.
No, and especially when editing comes into play. I mean, you can do that. Take 20 takes, 100 takes.
No one's going to see me miss the net the first 50 times.
And I think that's where your videos differ from ours, because we're also about as much technical and nerd information as possible, but we also want to be, we have the entertainment side as well. Not that your videos aren't entertaining, but
no, you're right. It's more cinematic. It's more of a visual experience than certainly what the SR4U content is.
And shorter videos, we don't have as much time to really go into depth as you do, and it's that's why it's good that we're both here, because people can pick and choose, right?
And I guess to add on to the no playtest thing, there's when you guys came onto the scene and really started going hard in terms of like cinematics and stuff like that, it's like, wow, there's zero chance for me to make something that comes close to that.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah.
You know,
why bother?
Like, why
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And that's also the thing. I don't think you should compare what you do to us. I just think people, at least if I was the consumer out there, I would just be happy to have, the options that they do right now. And there's been a big fall off in other boot reviewers on YouTube. I don't think many of the OGs are around anymore. So, I mean, enjoy it while we're here, because
that's the thing. Like, I don't want to make this turn into like, oh, let's talk about our work podcast, but
no,
I think the longevity of both of these channels is something that, while it seems like oh my gosh, I would love to talk about football boots every single day and make videos, and it's a tough thing. Like, it's been
it's
been 11 years for me. It's been 13 for you. It's like the amount of times I've listened to myself in the editing software talking. It's like, sometimes you just
unreal. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I know what you're saying, man. But again, it's not to say that I don't love my job, because I do, and I'm still as passionate, if not more passionate, as when I started. But it's also, as with all good things, they come to an end, and I hope the end is nowhere near for me. But it's just, I think people should be happy with what's out there and what you provide in terms of, like, will it be playtest? Physically playing. Does it matter? No. If you help people, that's the main point, right? So and then again, does Marquez Brownlee walk around, using his phone? Really, really walk around just doing random stuff on his phone when he reviews the new iPhone? Does it matter? No, not really. Like,
no.
Okay, that was a terrible comparison, but you know what I mean.
No, but you're right. Yeah, you don't. It seems to be a popular opinion amongst a lot of people on the internet, but yeah, you can't see the performance of a football boot.
I agree.
You can't see the performance of, really, I would say, almost any sports equipment.
That's wise words. I think we had a lot more questions, but just in terms of time, and we rambled on a lot, we should just end off with this one. Ginge119. Hello, guys. Do you think there's a future for rubberized uppers like on the Predators? Or do you think it's more of a gimmick? Just really, really briefly. Future for rubber on Preds?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, is there a future without rubber on the Preds?
I don't think so. No. To me, if it doesn't have rubber, it's not a Predator.
Yeah. Is the Predator 18 and 19 plus really a Predator?
No.
No, not really. I mean, it was nice and all. Great boots, nice to have the Pred name back, but not really, right? I mean,
it's a staple.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think there is a future. They just got to manage it and work with the times, right? I think edge the time for big, solid, chunky boot with tons of grip. I think it's not right now, at least. And do you think it's more of a gimmick? No, definitely not. I think it does add something to your game. You shouldn't expect to be turned into David Beckham or Paul Pogba levels of curve and just top corner bangers, but there is something more to work with for you with the rubber elements. And I think that's what people need to realize. I don't think it's a gimmick.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely not.
So, I mean, you could say that all modern football boots are gimmicks because blah, blah. You could take a Morelia 2 and, it's from 1980 something and cool. You can still be a world beater of a player if, it's not the boots. And it's not the boots. But if you like to have something extra to work with, if you like that little bit of texture, you like the extra grip, then it's not a gimmick.
Look, I've said this a million times now. It's the player, not the boots. Yeah. But that does not mean that the boots don't matter.
Exactly.
Because they do matter to a certain extent. Because if you can take a pair of Walmart boots and you take a pair of top-of-the-line Nikes and compare the two, 10 out of 10 people are going to pick that Nike pair, and there's a reason why.
It's about the feeling, right? If you feel, at least in my book, if I feel better, I play better. I can see it on how I play. If I just go out in a pair of boots where I feel like the fit is a little bit off, sizing's off, they feel like clown shoes. I mean, I just don't play that well. It's a mental thing, and I'm not like mentally strong enough to convince myself otherwise. But if the placebo effect works, and I can trick myself into thinking that I'm better than I actually am, well, I'll take it. I'll happily pay for that because it all matters, right? So yeah.
There it is.
Cool.
Episode 147.
47.
maybe.
We're gonna
remember
get back
this
to
time.
some of the other questions that we didn't answer. There are some good ones in episode 148. But if you have any others you'd like us to answer, leave them in the comment section right down below. Also, remember to like the video if you had a good time. Subscribe to Josh's channel and to Unisport and the Bootnerds podcast if you haven't done so already. We're gonna take a little break next week. I'll be on holiday, which has been a long time coming, so I'm going to enjoy that. And then we're hopefully going to be back looking at our Nike by You boots, which we have.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be there by then, because they've been ordered.
Yeah, they have. Fingers crossed. But questions down below. I've been JayMike, and I approve this message. See you later.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.